Welcome to my YouTube channel, The Quiet Stories of Life, where basically I'm reading extracts from my novel of shorts up by the same name, The Quiet Stories of Life. As I mentioned in all, the book is available in hard copy only on my web page, because I'm trying to take control of my own writing until a big company picks me up, and I'm waiting. Probably be buried first, but there you go. But anyway, my web page is maurice.ie. There, it's wrote in front of you there. But you can buy an electronic copy at Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, or any good outlet. It is available in electronic copy for Kindle, whatever you have, iPad, it doesn't matter. You'll be able to buy copies. Today I'm going to read a story on my thoughts in Serbia. I was there I spent, I think, 3.5, 4 years in Serbia on different occasions, and this was just some of my thoughts. So the name of this title is Serbia, Yugoslavia, 1997. It's page 135, The Quiet Stories of Life. And I do urge you to buy a hard copy. Keep me fed. Approaching 2 years in Yugoslavia, and I'm still enjoying it. Incredible. 3 promotions have radically changed the scope of my work, not to mention workload. From my original position as soup kitchen program manager, producing 22,000 meals a day, I was forced to pick up the portfolio of senior logistics relief officer due to the completion of the incumbent's mission. Then transport department needed attention, and I, formerly being a vehicle mechanic, was willingly sucked in. And it didn't stop there. The information department had no native English speaker, so they directed all the publications to me for vetting. And the outgoing head of delegation was less in his seat, and I became acting head of delegation. It couldn't last. After 3 months, I burnt out and spent a month on home leave, recovering. Things have quietened since, but I'm taking better care of myself. The job is important to me, above the necessity to generate an income. Of course, I never married and lack responsibilities. I don't even own an apartment, shame on me. So I'm free of commitment to do this type of work. Still, it is a nice feeling helping others. There is also the excitement of travel, the adventure of exploring different cultures, landscapes, and the many friends I've acquired along the way. The world is full of lovely people. For example, last Sunday I was on the outskirts of Varasa, a regional town close to the Romanian border. Of all things to be doing, I was visiting a monastery. My mother would have been so proud and hopeful to know this. It was a nun's monastery, and the nature of the trip was social research. It is customary in Yugoslavia to ring the doors of monasteries on passing. Normally you pay your respects and offer a donation at the church, usually hidden behind the high perimeter walls. Later, if your presence pleases them, you might be invited to dine with them. On this occasion, I left hungry. The lovely nun who received us was suffering a serious vitamin D deficiency, and being a former psychology student from Belgrade, she gave me a staunch lecture I didn't need on the celestial. A feisty woman. I left hoping that my 20 Deutschmark contribution would secure her fare to heaven. On days that are normal, I might visit a collective centre, a home to a group of refugees who fled the atrocities of Slovenia, then Croatia, and then the massacres of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Many people find it difficult to associate anything good with Serbs and Serbia. This reflects adversely on our donor appeals, which at best secure 30% of what we seek. while on the counter, the needs accelerate as refugees keep arriving and social cases escalating. It is actually a bloody mess here in Yugoslavia. This year people died for the want of simple medicine. Children suffer for the want of shoes. And I witnessed firsthand the terrible, indiscriminate acrimony of sanctions. Even in 1997, economic sanctions persist, although the international media no longer appear so biased in their reporting. You will no doubt be hearing a lot about the anti-government street demonstrations currently taking place in Belgrade. They are impressive. 100,000 people taken to the streets, willing to endure the harsh cold and the regime to express their dissatisfaction against the political vote rigging and racketeering. It insults their intellect as human beings, and worse, it insults them as a nation. In Serbia, 1 in every 20 persons is a refugee. 1/3 of the population earn less than the monthly basket of food, and sanctions have driven many more to subsistence farming. I kid you not. Sanctions are addressed at those least able to protect themselves, the general population, the baker, the grocer, and the ordinary man about his business. Sanctions are an international sedition designed to incite rebellion by instilling a state of hopelessness in the minds of the innocent general public. Sanctions are the reason at least 4 desperate pensioners that I've heard of in Belgrade stepped out of their high-rise apartment windows to their grisly end. All through the recent conflict, the problems of Belgrade were internationally ignored. Suddenly the demonstrations are the leading story. Why? To justify the imposition of sanctions? To justify this final push to topple a government? The Serbian regime is not perfect. However, the method of their removal remains questionable. Sanctions crush the ordinary man. They strip him of his dignity and destroy the quality of his life and his family's life. I am a logical atheist. I demand a miracle of my choosing before accepting a baseless fate, while the followers tell me that God, if that is really his name, would be denying his fate by providing it. It is an impasse I have no intention of passing. Sorry, Muller, but my chances of entering priesthood remain slim. Somewhere between voted best looking man in the world and getting pregnant. So why do I mention religion at all? Well, many of my co-workers are keen followers of one denomination or another. It struck me as interesting that on seeking a church to attend in Belgrade, they did not label themselves to any particular religion, but instead wandered around a few churches, dropping into their services until they found one that they felt comfortable with. This most liberating approach is very encouraging. No messing about, just warm adulation. Our office is a polite environment, no swear boxes or bawling matches in the corridors. When everybody expresses tolerance, any environment becomes habitable. I've got a nice accommodation, but it is a freezing during the winter. It's 2 stories. Downstairs is open plan comprising of a kitchen and sitting room. The furniture and fittings are dated and the window frames in need of replacement. Upstairs is not much better. There are 2 medium-sized bedrooms, again budget furniture, and in one room the walls are painted yellow with luminous stars stuck to the ceiling. I find it a place to focus your dreams, perhaps. Actually, it doesn't sound like a wonderful house, but Belgrade's rents are ridiculously exorbitant. London is cheap by comparison. My rent is around £600 a month without services. The good part is I live in a woodland green belt. Delightful in summer, charming but cold in winter. Living in the suburbs has other advantages. My circle of national friends continues to grow. Yugoslavs have much in common with the Irish. A good sense of humour, fond of a drink and respectful to elders. I mention this because muggings are unheard of. Vandalism is not even in their dictum. They genuinely are pleasant people. So then how come the war? Well, as the English follow football and ignore politics, Yugoslavs do the reverse. Every single one of them wants to run the country their way. A pity really, but this will change as democracy swings towards a market economy. Man's greed is reliable and financial desires bonds all creeds. Unfortunately, my girlfriend T and I split. She moved on. Her ambitions far superseded mine, and I knew the course of our time I would never make her happy. What a rotter. It hurt both of us, of course, but there is always a future. A rampage of replacements followed. Tammy, 25 years of old and luscious, but mentally unbalanced. I woke up at 4 a.m. one morning to a strange whooshing sound and found her downstairs sawing a loaf of bread. The noise was the breadboard, which she had decided also to cut in half. No explanation, I just felt like it, she told me. Well, I couldn't get her out the door quick enough, and in walked Shelley, blonde and slim. She read the tarot cards. Next, please. Gursa was 28 years old. She had the mind of a devil and as playful as a kitten. Her beauty and youth ran rings around me. Quite simply, I needed an older cat to cuddle against, not scale the walls all evening every evening. Then by chance I met Mira. It all seemed so right and correct until her husband found out. Like a fisherman, my luck will change. One cast of the net will eventually catch me the perfect mate. Because I'm actively participating in the process, I'm not waiting idly for fate to intervene. You see, at 40 plus, hair thinning, and a face in the mirror that no longer gains my approval, I honestly can't say that I'm displeased or even unhappy with myself. Seriously. I left Ireland in January 1987 for Ethiopia, and I've been travelling since. First through East Africa, then Pakistan, now Yugoslavia. I've seen a lot, and sometimes I've saw too much. The friends I've made are numerous as they are scattered around the globe. There are advantages to my lifestyle, of course. A decent living standard, a chunk of my salary saved each month, and occasionally your concern can make a positive difference to another's life. For years I have felt that I have been romancing with life, and I suppose I have. It has been enjoyable, but a child can only eat so many chocolates. Next year's resolution. Well, not so much a resolution as a wish. I would like to settle down, or at least change country. I would like to publish a book. I know I can't save the world, but it pleases me to try, and I will never tire of chasing such aspirations. Thank you. That book was called Serbia, Yugoslavia. Page 135 in the Quiet Stories. As I said, available in hard copy. What did you think of that? Leave me a comment. Always curious. Okay, thank you. Bye.